Kung naniniwala sa kasabihan, kaya ng iba, eh paggawa mo sa kanya, hindi pa. Hira lang, it's a joke. Welcome for another week. Papakilala po muna ako. Ako nga pala si Ben uTOLMO, ang inyong isang alagad ng sining kada linggo. Now for this episode, I'll be asking for some help with a friend. And because this has been requested before, kaya naisipan kong to reach out to this friend para naman matulungan tayo. He can help you, teach you, and give you a detailed instruction of how to do this project. Now for this project, we will be needing, yes, a watercolor paintbrush. So, without much further ado, pick up your paper and we'll do this. Kumusta po kayo mga kaibigan, mga kababayan? Bago ang lahat, magpapakilala po ako. Ako nga pala si Roy. Ako yung asawa po ng may-ari ng channel na ito. Kasi may nag-request po kasi na pwede ba daw i-detalye kung how to do yung watercolor na ginawa ko noon. So yes, why not? Kung makatulong naman, I'm here always. Tsaka yung mga nalalaman ko, I'll try to share it with you kung paano gagawin. So for this episode, we are doing the watercolor painting. Maganda ito na project, especially if you have a empty space with a white or cream or magnolia na paint dun sa wall ninyo. Now, disclaimer lang po para sa lahat, hindi po ako isang professional art teacher. Talagang nakahiligan ko lang po talagang gumawa ng mga bagay-bagay. So, nakita ko naman when I was working on watercolor na medyo madali naman. Everybody can learn. So, based on the experience lang po itong sasabihin ko. I don't teach you by the book po. Without further ado, ito po yung mga kakailanganin natin. We have here a watercolor pad. If you're asking me po kung pwede po bang gamitin yung papel doon sa printer, yung A4, tingin ko naman okay lang, but those have limitation po kasi ang texture po ng papel na yun is medyo smooth. And if we are working with water, medyo magtatakbo po yung tubig kung saan-saan. But the watercolor pad is thick and has the ability po to absorb yung water po. Tsaka talagang yung details po ng color ninyo may enhance nyo. One more thing nga pala, I don't suggest you buy, especially when you are a beginner at tsaka yung kakasimula nyo lang po. Do not buy those expensive stuff. Hindi po siya mura. Yung especially yung mga sa professional level na po. So, try to find yung cheap ones muna. Kasi once you put paint in the paper, wala na pong balikan yan. So, for this project, try to find yung cheap ones muna. Watercolor brushes po, ayan. Pakita ko lang po yung bristles. This one, medyo buwagag. Luma kasi. I use this one for mixing my watercolor. Yung gusto kong magkaroon ng touch of blue, touch of green, hinahalo-halo ko. So, I use one dedicated for that. Now, this one is a medium bristled one. Most of the body of the picture that I painted, I use with this bristle. And of course, yung fine one, medyo maliit. Ito naman, ginagamit ko to sa details po ng aking painting. Watercolor palette, mura lang naman po. Malaking tulong po, especially when we work with water. May mga compartment kasi siya. So at least, hindi magkakalat yung mga paint na i-mix natin. Of course, ayan, watercolor. Again, I suggest po, if you can find a cheap one, we'll try to work on it for especially kung beginner pa po kayo. Yung kakasimulan nyo lang po, hindi pa kayo nakatouch ng watercolor before, I'd suggest try to explore yung cheap ones muna. That's not bad anyway, it's just for practice. Kung meron nga kayong mahanap dun sa mga cabinet ninyo na yung bang back in the elementary grades, I still remember there's like a tin box of plastic yellow colored one, and then when you open it, there's like blocks of colors with some watercolor brush inside. Yan. If you can find that in your cabinet, why not use it? For practice purposes lang naman po ito. And I have also, of course, water. kailangan po. I usually prepare 2 glasses. One is for rinsing the residue of the brush that I have, especially when I mix paint. Before we start painting, I'd like to show you in illustration yung 2 techniques po na ginagamit ng mga artist using the watercolor medium. Ito po, I use pencil to trace. But usually if you have a small draw naman, you can do freehand. It's up to you po. If it's bigger, then probably you need to trace. This one is the wet on wet technique. Apply a water first in the paper. And you put the paint to wash off the fresh paint on it. So nagiging diluted ulit siya doon sa surface kasi nga may tubig. I'll tell you the difference later when all of the illustrations are dried out. Now this one is the same but without the tracing. Another wet on wet technique. Again, wet on wet. You put water first on the paper before you put your paint. This time I'll just put water in the surroundings only. So I'm leaving a space in the middle. So once I run a paint doon sa wet surface, you can see that the water only runs doon sa space kung saan meron pong tubig, leaving some empty space in the middle. Now this one here right now, it's a wet on dry, as on. See, you can hardly see the difference right now because it's still wet. But later, when it dried up, this one here, wet on dry again. Again, I'm leaving a blank surface in the middle. A wet on dry. This time, we will fully cover everything with a heavy ink. Yan po. Quite dark ang mangyayari. It's still wet. We can actually take away excess colors. If you wanted to achieve something na heavy outline and then walang color sa gitna, you can always take off the excess color using your brush. So as you can see, as I'm taking away the color inside, it tends to create a very nice outline po doon sa circle po natin. Use the kitchen towel to press on it until the color will fade away. At this stage po, as it all dries up, ayan, dinadump na natin ng cloth para mag-dry up talaga siya, we can do some layering. Ibig sabihin po, we can put another round or another object through it para meron tayong dalawang outline na makikita. But we can only do this, remember, if the one painted is already dried up fully. Ayan. This is what we call layering. Brings out the layer doon sa middle. You might ask me, can I put color on top of existing color? Yes, you can, but you have to wait until it's dry. For this illustration, see this round one right there? I put a water sa side lang po. Para kung ano mang color yung lalagay ko sa side lang siya magsistay. Now I'm putting red. See, it doesn't run in the middle again because I'm not putting any water doon sa gitna. Can I fully cover? Sure, why not? You can just scribble it. But of course, the green background will stay right there. The contrast of green will always be there. Now this one right here, kasi dried up na po siya, this is the perfect time for details. Ayan. So very fine brush. I-draw natin dito yung detail na gusto natin sa object. Yung transparent look kasi niya maganda tingnan dahil nga dun sa technique na ginawa natin kanina. So, ayan po, natapos na po natin. Sana naman may natutunan kayo. And I hope you will not stop working with your art po. Know you have it in you. Next episode po, baka we will tackle yung big leaves naman po. Na ibabalik ko na po kay Sir Ben. Well, that is one fine art right there. Now, sana mga boss, you enjoy this week's episode. Each episode, mag-iisip po tayo of what we can do, something for our house, something for the garden, something for the toilet, something useful. Again, you can do it. Do it yourself. Because no one is stopping you to try what you wanted to try. Whatever it is. Kaya mong gawin yan. With the help of some friend, with the help of my friends, yes, we can do it. So, bago po ako magpaalam, for those of you who's new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit those notification bell for more of the updates like these videos. Next week, who knows what we have for you. So, magpapaalam na po ako, along with my beautiful coat, which is binigay na sa akin, my beautiful hat, and my beautiful shades. Ako po ay... Lagi! Katali, hapit na ko na human! Lali, kusog!